Hello everyone and welcome to Antiques Made Easy. I'm Adrian and I've been a dealer for 25 years, and today I'd like to show you how to research antiques online. Today's mystery object,
We want
another
to know
antique,
who made it, when, and how much it's worth.
So we come to the initial assessment, and the first thing to do is to measure the jug, and it's just a tad over 3 inches high. Looking at the body of it, that's the actual stuff that it's made from. Well, the foot rim, as you can see, is glazed, so you can't see the body, but if you do a light test, it doesn't show any light coming through. So with some other little indications, you can tell that it's actually made of pottery. It's a pottery body and not porcelain. Looking at the glaze, especially on the base, you can see that it's crackled and has a slight blue tinge, which is very important because it tells me, with a bit of knowledge of ceramics, that this piece is actually made of a class called pearlware, where you always get a pooling of the bluish tinged glaze on the underside. So that's important. So if you go back to look at it again, an assessment of the shape, well, it's what we would call a silver shape. It's inspired by silver. And you could also call it a helmet shape or ewer shape. So these are all important words when it comes to a search. The handle goes into the body, it doesn't kick up. So very often that can imply that it's not as old as the ones where the handles actually go up. You can see it's moulded into the body. So we're getting some indication of age, and also if you know about pearlware, you know that it basically lasted up to about 1850 and started roughly 1780. So we've got a time frame. If we look at the painting, you can see there's a pink border with circles centered by dots. So that's something possibly that we can put into a search. And the border below is dotted. That may come in handy or may not. It all depends. And if you look at the decoration on the main body, it's swags of flowers. If we look, say, from another angle here, you can see swags or bouquets of flowers and dashed on the handle. These are possibly things that might come in handy. The other thing you notice about it as well is that the body is actually shaped. You can't see it too well in the photos here, but there's a kind of curved, impressed pattern, which is called gadrooning. It's gadrooned. So that's another word, and if you've watched my videos, you'll know that words are very important. The more little phrases that you find out, the better when it comes to the actual search. If we look at the base again, can we see the base? There it is. There are no marks. Now, you know, this is typical of a lot of pottery and porcelain from the late 18th century, early 19th century. They were unmarked. So once again, we're working from scratch, but we know a few things. We know the height of the piece. We know that it's pottery and not porcelain. We know that it's of a class called pearlware, that the body is gadrooned and it's painted with pink and other colours in overglaze enamel. So it's a start. We've got somewhere to look on the internet. So now we head over to the internet and start a search using the words that we've just managed to work out from the initial assessment. So we can put in cream jug, and we'll just start with pearlware and see what images come up. So we've got blue and white. It's not surprising. Some of these possibly aren't even pearlware, from the look of it. Oh, but here we've got a familiar shape, and the search word helmet shaped. So, and there's another one, and that one actually is pretty good as a match. So we can go through to here and take a look at it. Now straight away you notice Newhall, helmet shaped cream jug, 18th century. They haven't narrowed down the date at all, but we can see it's decorated with some little familiar things like the dots. If we go back to our jug somewhere, images. We go back to here, there are the dots. Ours looks a little more squat, although it could be the angle that the photograph was taken from. And what you notice there is there's a thumb piece on the handle as well. And that is a strap handle that is kicking up slightly, but it's not bad. It's possible. Now that one has got 218 on the base, but if we go back and change the search, we can put helmet shaped, and Newhall. See what happens. Now we've got a whole range of jugs that have got similarities to ours. The pink, for a start off. The swags or garlands or bouquets, they're similar. If we look at this one, we can see it's actually gadrooned as well, or fluted would be another word. They're similar. So we've definitely got something with Newhall. there. There's loads of them. Loads. So if we put fluted, and now we can see the same jug again there, fluted. The odds of getting an exact match are pretty limited, because there was a lot of pottery produced. But this is a good indication that our piece is Newhall. The similarities are striking. So if we can have a look at one of these, let's say that one there. We'll try that one. Newhall porcelain clip handle cream jug, pattern 121. Pretty late 18th century pedestal cream jug with clip shape handle. That, I believe, is referring to the base there. But we've got a date of 1785 to 1790. I don't think we'll find anything else out from that. So this is, you've got to bear in mind that these fashions only lasted for a certain length of time. So 1785, 1790 is going to be a good estimate of the age of our jug. And Newhall is looking almost certainly to be the maker. But I don't know if we can get anything that will clinch it completely. That's the same one. Here, we have a lot of similarities again. Price 75. Helmet shaped cream jug. So we're getting close. When it comes to who made it, it's almost certainly Newhall, and when is again will be around 1785, 1790. The only problem left is how much is it worth? Well, there are limitations to the internet as a way of searching antiques. Newhall is a subscribe one. No, don't ask me again. Thank you. Newhall had pattern numbers that would have been to do with the shapes and the decoration. So with books, with an actual book on Newhall, you could narrow it right down to the exact pattern. On the internet, these things aren't readily available in a search engine. They're in books. So there are limits to online research. But we've more or less got there. And the price range, I mean, we've seen 75, 120, 165. So you've got to go back to your piece and look at it and think, well, how does it compare with the ones that are worth more money, or are these just retail prices that possibly won't be achieved? So the whole problem of pricing, and it is a problem, you've got to think in terms of two valuations. One is the auction valuation and the other is the retail. And obviously the auction valuation is always lower because of supply and demand. When an object goes through an auction, it's got to be sold at that point. If a collector hasn't seen those objects or doesn't have the money at the time or the inclination to buy, obviously the auction price is always lower because the trade will be buying for stock, and then later on the full retail value, or possibly 3/4 of the retail value, will be achieved in a sale to a private buyer by a dealer. So the best guesstimate would be, in auction, £60 to £80, retail value 120. So basically we can say it's Newhall circa 1780 to 90, a cream jug in pearlware. We've got the full description of it, and it's worth full retail £120, but otherwise in auction 60 to 80, with plus the buyer's premium. So that's a wrap. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please look at more of my videos on YouTube under Adrian Parker. I've also got a presence on Patreon if you want to support me in making these videos and valuations. And I've got a Facebook group, Antiques and Collectibles Wanted UK, and another Facebook group where I do valuations on individual items for £1 per item. It's not exactly expensive, and it's called £1 Valuations Antique and Art, I think, or you can find it on Facebook if you search. So thank you very much, and bye bye. See you again.